Well, this is going to be a hard list to do, considering I only get 10 spots, but I'm going to do my best to make this a balance of DC, Marvel, and other comic publishers' most memorable movie moments spanning throughout the decades. It's me, Amanda, we've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. What's your favorite superhero movie? Number 10, the meme. This was a moment we were all waiting for, a moment that No Way Home pays tribute to actually a few different times in the film. One of my favorite moments in the film when they do pay tribute to it though, is the Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3 scene where all the Spider-Men have a huddle to figure out how best to approach fighting with so many villains at once and, not getting in the way of each other while doing it. They end up deciding that the best way to do this is by working together as a team and focusing on one villain at a time. Well, this conversation is going on, they're also all pointing and gesturing at each other like in the meme, and also have to decide which number Peter each of them should be classified as so that they can more easily communicate as they execute their plan and don't get confused. Peter 3! Seriously, I love this scene and how much fan service exists in this film. It's like 99.99% fan service. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd and you're not already, why not click that subscribe button and join the Nerd Squad? We would love to have you here. Number 9, Captain Sparklefingers. This first Shazam film actually has a ton of great moments that are memorable, to be honest. One of my favorite ones being when Freddy suggests Captain Sparklefingers as a name for Billy's superhero persona. This happens during the culmination of Shazam testing out his powers, realizing he has hyperspeed, super strength, and invulnerability, in addition to his electricity manipulation. After saving a convenience store clerk from a robbery, they run into a customer who's headed into the store as Shazam tries to start a conversation with her, and Freddy introduces him as Captain Sparklefingers, after trying out earlier names like Thundercrack, Mr. Philadelphia, and Power Boy in the previous scene. Captain Sparklefingers. Shazam just being like, not my name, that's not my name. Number 7, Puny God. Number 7, Puny God. Loki has had a lot of memorable moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with some of his most memorable ones for me coming from the Loki Disney Plus streaming series. However, he also has some pretty great ones from the films too, including one where he gets his butt handed to him by the Hulk. This happens during the first Avengers film, following Loki being blown off of a sort of glider bike by Hawkeye's exploding arrow. He runs into the Hulk, who is initially stopped by Loki trying to deliver a big villain speech, but Hulk doesn't actually have time for speeches. Classic Hulk. And he interrupts him by picking him up and proceeding to smash him back and forth over his head against the floor. Leaving Loki groaning in pain on the floor, Hulk then walks away saying, "Puny God," as he goes. What a great moment. Number 8, Death of Starro. This moment honestly hurt my heart. While perhaps not as many people saw James Gunn's The Suicide Squad as I would have expected, at least not based on how much I have hyped and talked about it with people, only to find that those people haven't seemed to have seen it yet and don't really know what I'm talking about. This is truly a film with many memorable moments. Seriously, I really enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen it yet, you should go see it. You should fix that. It's so good. Even knowing what I'm about to tell you, you're still going to enjoy it. Spoilers for this can't ruin the movie, there's too many great moments in it. The Suicide Squad are sent on a mission to shut down and eliminate Project Starfish in Corto Maltese. However, they eventually realize what this means, eliminating a gigantic telepathic alien starfish. In the end, they are successful, but the poor Starro the Conqueror being defeated doesn't hit the same way that most villain defeats in films do. Classic James Gunn, just like flipping the script on us a bit here. Instead, we feel sad for the loss of the creature, whose last thoughts are actually spent thinking about the time before it was captured by Earthlings, when it was floating freely in space, staring at the stars. Starro? Oh my gosh, making me feel emotions. Number 6, Why So Serious? One of the best parts of the Dark Knight films is actually Heath Ledger's Joker. While tragically, Heath Ledger left us too soon on this earth, his performance as the Joker is forever immortalized through the power of film. He plays the character perfectly, I would say, and while Jack Nicholson's performance is also one of the most iconic for me, Heath Ledger's is one that really just can't be topped, or I haven't seen it happen yet, personally. Now, of course, it could just be the nostalgia of this time period for me in regards to when the film was released and why it resonated with me so much, but I'd still say the performances and much of the story is what made these films so memorable and so cherished for myself. One of the most haunting scenes to this day is the one where Joker infiltrates Gamble's place and explains the story, if we can really believe him, of how he got his unique facial scars. Number 5, Should Have Gone for the Head. Probably one of the most quotable moments, I would say, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe still today, and definitely a memorable moment for Thor for the next 5 5 years that happened after this one. In this scene, Thor leaps into action and almost succeeds in taking out Thanos at the last possible second, like right before Thanos is about to snap. The Avengers have thrown everything they have at him at this point, and finally Thor returns to Earth with Stormbreaker, ready to throw everything he's got into the ring as well. He succeeds in hitting Thanos in the chest square just before he can snap. But unfortunately for our heroes, it is not enough to defeat him. Thanos whispers to Thor, "Should have gone for the head," before using the gauntlet to wipe out 50% of all life and teleporting away, leaving Thor bewildered. Number 4. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. I mean, this whole scene is pretty iconic. This whole movie is iconic. Oh, I love this movie. Definitely memorable and disturbing. We're talking about the moment from 1989's Batman. I love Tim Burton's take on these characters and this world. Here, Michael Keaton plays Batman, my favorite all-time live-action adaptation of this character. Although honestly, Rob Pattinson is coming up close in second with his portrayal in The Batman. I really did love it. And Jack Nicholson here is playing the Joker. Vicky Vale is played by Kim Basinger. When Joker confronts Bruce Wayne, Bruce meets him with the same level of crazy, but is seemingly shot after the Joker speaks another famous line that happens in this scene: "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Believing Bruce is dead, the Joker then takes Vicky Vale and leaves. Of course, we know that Bruce is really playing dead, having a serving tray to protect him that was concealed underneath his shirt. Because, you know, we've all seen this movie, I'm assuming. If you haven't seen this movie, what are you doing if you haven't seen 1989 Batman? Pause this video, go watch it, and then come back, because that movie is still fire. Number 3. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Maybe one of the best moments we've gotten so far from the Spider-Verse animated films. In the latest film, Across the Spider-Verse, Miles struggles with finding his place in his own world before he's pulled back into the multiverse, where it's revealed to him that destiny has a big role to play in not just his, but every other Spider-themed hero's life in the multiverse. However, when destiny seems to be threatening the life of his father through Spider-Man's new nemesis, the Spot, he refuses to let this happen. As Spider-Man, Miles decides to fight back against Spider-Man 2099, his organization of multiversal Spider-Folks and Destiny, escaping their clutches in an attempt to return home and save his father. When Miguel tries to tell Miles that is simply how things must go and he can't do anything to stop it, saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, Miles responds by telling him, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing." Talk about an empowering moment. Honestly, I know this moment has just happened, but I can already tell it's like iconic. Just made me feel so many things at once. So good. Number 2. Who's Got You? The 1978 Superman movie has to be one of the most iconic films of all time. This is back where superhero movies really started, with the hero Superman leaping from the pages of comics to the big screen thanks to actor Christopher Reeves. To this day, I don't think we've actually seen a better portrayal of both Clark Kent and Superman on screen in live action. Truly, Reeves' take on the character shines brighter than most other attempts. Like, I mean, Christopher Reeves basically was Superman. Although we have had some pretty admirable ones since, to be fair, but I'm just saying, I don't think anyone can top Reeves. The scene we're talking about here is the one where Clark saves Lois from falling off of a helicopter to the distant ground below. Quickly changing into his Superman costume in the blink of an eye, Superman flies up and catches Lois, saying, "Easy, miss, I've got you," prompting her to respond with the equally famous line, "You've got me, who's got you?" I love that. Also, I just love both of them together in these movies. Oh, so good. Number 1, Turn to Dust. One of my favorite moments of all time, or I guess I shouldn't say one of my favorite moments. That sounds pretty morbid, but here we are. The blip is definitely one of the most iconic moments in all of superhero cinema. In fact, people still refer back to it today in canon, and many folks out there think of it as the height of the Marvel Universe. The blip happened in Avengers Infinity War, right at the end of that film. Thanos successfully acquires all the Infinity Stones, forging his Infinity Gauntlet. Snapping, he uses it to wipe out 50% of the life in all of the universe. Pretty tragic stuff. I think the most memorable scene for me of this sort of montage of everyone turning to dust is the death of Spider-Man, who takes a longer time to fade away to dust, doing so right in front of and kind of in the arms of his mentor, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Also, the death of Groot, that hits pretty hard too in this. What's even more impressive is how apparently much of the scene between Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark and Tom Holland's Peter Parker is actually a lot of improv. They kind of just let Tom Holland riff a bit, I think, there, and it works so well. That's about it. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.